If you watched my top 21 games video, you'll know that Phantom Pain was the best game I played last year. Now, it came out in 2015. Don't worry, I checked. I'm pretty late to playing some games, especially ones that are really good. That's what happens when you're 30. You have less time to do anything because most of the time is dedicated to life. Your time is focused on much more important factors like family, friends, and work. And eventually, you have to come to the realization that some games you're just never gonna get to experience. And we're supposed to accept that, I guess. Human life is precious, and as far as anyone is concerned, this is the only life that they will have. Maybe life is meaningless, and we're all just acting a part in this society because we're conditioned to believe that the bullshit that we're doing matters. Maybe there's video games after death. I don't know. Maybe that's for another video. But speaking of death, look at this freaking game. I don't know how much I want to talk about this game, mostly because there's tons of videos already talking about the good, the bad, the ugly, and weird. There's like hundreds of videos and thousands of hours on Kojima and his video games. It's special, really, how much of his body of work affected so many people and continue to do so. And now this video is added to it, I guess. This video is going to be different than others. It's a little more raw, in a spiritual sense, not that kind, you pervert. I wrote 5 different versions of this video just because I wanted to talk about it, but I kept losing focus on what kind of point I wanted to make. I originally thought about making an hour-long video and talk about everything in this game, but I felt that would have been a little too self-centered, and take it from me, I love being at the center of attention. Another draft was talking about the gameplay and the story like a review, but it's kind of a tired point already. There was a reoccurring theme with my drafts about this video. People love playing games for Kojima, and I realized the reason is pretty simple. It's the experience of playing his games. It's an understatement to say this dude is a cultural icon. Whenever he decides to say something publicly, scores of fans are out retweeting or providing insight into each and every single word. His name alone is synonymous with the whole video games as art concept. He consistently has made really good games, and there's always hype around them. But there I go again, I'm losing focus. Oh yeah, that's Stranding. So after he has a public breakup with his employer of 2 decades, he leaves to form a studio on his own and makes this game, which now leads us to all the reason why I sat down and make this video. I want to talk about the most recent game for Kojima, about evolution, and if any of this has actual meaning, and does it matter? Why does this game elicit that kind of response? Why did I decide to sit down and write and rewrite the script for this video? How did this game get me to talk about the meaning of life? Because Death Stranding is a really weird game.
To understand and know, play my tricks.
Alright, let's get my review out of the way real quick. I don't know, it's a video game. I think that's a pretty good compliment for it. Death Stranding starts off pretty simple and so mysteriously inviting, where you have no idea what's going on, but you want to learn more. You want to see the prestige of this crazy and nonsensical place. And as you progress, it gets deeper into the mystery with new twists and intrigue. There are really great sections of intensity, and they range from a serene ride to place a bomb in a tar pit, to parkouring off sinking buildings while fighting these cosmic aberrations. The gameplay is pretty much solid for the most part, and the story is intriguing, but the writing does have that Kojima-ness to it that kind of breaks the immersion. There's some overly expository writing and an explanation for almost everything, which disrupts the sense of mystery or your own personal headcanon that fills in the gaps. And the shooting gameplay that needs to happen in every single video game is kind of awkward with how guns and ammos are implemented with the main mechanic of carrying boxes and cargo. But what I took away from Death Stranding is just the experience of playing it all the way through. There's somehow an uneasy and emotional core to the games Kojima has made. He has these grand ideas that shape the entire world, even if the world and characters are just a minute part of it. There's a careful consideration to show the state of the world. Guns of the Patriots has this when you see the fake commercials of the world at that time. Death Stranding is an entire world. It's a post-apocalyptic setting where the rain ages you rapidly and the ghosts of the dead, stuck in this limbo of purgatory, haunt the landscape while survivors live underground, mostly by themselves. Solitude as a theme is everywhere. You are by yourself, going against all the elements and nature of a mysterious and broken world. Your interaction with anyone is done through holograms, cargo boxes, the occasional magic trick, and walking and driving hundreds of miles to connect people to the internet. And the antagonistic forces that try to stop you are pirates scavenging any supplies they can, and an anarchist army bent on vaporizing humankind. It is a punishing experience on a physical and emotional level, to say the least. And at the same time, characters' names are Die Hard Man, Heart Man, Dead Man, and Bridges Man. You get actual social media likes for doing a good job, product placement of Monster energy drinks before they replaced it in the director's cut. Your poop and pee can be used as a biological weapon against ghosts, and sometimes someone looks at the camera camera directly to give you a thumbs up. Honestly, I love it. The depressing atmosphere that chokes the world around you, and yet there's a certain cheekiness that seeps through. This is the kind of experience people generally expect of playing a Kojima game. It's a somewhat conspiratorial look at how a world and society functions on a much broader scale. And Kojima's like, oh, okay, cool. Let's make a fun little game out of it. And all this boils down to the emotion I felt when I beat Death Stranding. Hope. Kojima tries his best to emulate the realities of our global society. He incorporates the uneasy brutality of the world. His settings revolve around human beings being the arbitrators of their own destruction, whether through loyalty, power, or morality. But always at the end, you prevail. You fight through and you save humanity from whatever destruction was about to wrought upon us. The onset of the extinction event is postponed indefinitely, but the hope for Death Stranding is different. Listen, I love likes. Hint, hint. And I love how Kojima fits it in this desolate and isolating environment. And that's the hope I mean. What I love about his games is how much I get involved into them. How I become a character of sorts and fit into this world he created. There is a meta here that absorbs you and has you make this weird personal connection to it. And it's not like talking to the camera trick or breaking the fourth wall kind of deal. It's the submerging into the scenery and constructing the perception you are part of this world. You affect it. And you actually do. Kojima is really good at player motivation, getting the player to engage with the game and have them continue to engage with it. And he does this with the meta mechanic where you feel personally involved. You see in Metal Gear Solid 1 with the Psycho Mantis fight, Snake Eater with the Sea of Sorrow walkthrough of all the enemies you killed, and with Phantom Pain where the legacy of Big Boss, a character so ingrained into the mythos of the entire Metal Gear series, was actually established by you, the player. The meta for Death Stranding is the online system that is an evolution of FromSoft's Soulborn series with the messaging and summoning mechanic. Death Stranding simplified the messaging system, so now it's emojis instead of text. And while you can't summon other players into your world or have them invade you, structures built by you or others appear once you establish a connection on that section of the map online. When you help yourself traverse through this rocky and barren land, you also inadvertently help other players all around the world. I got a bunch of likes for this roadway I built, and I kind of spiraled in a good way. I went to collect more of these resources to build more and more of these roads. There was a sensation where my actions was helping strangers get through the burden of playing this game. And that's such a weird approach. The surface level essence of Death Stranding is it's a walking simulator, but it's a Kojima walking simulator. There's a difference. You're building these bridges to reconnect society here, but you also do this on a meta level for people online. You can't really help others or help yourself unless you establish that connection. And once you do, you open yourself to the world, which gives you access to other structures and tools that will help you on your own journey, and even missing packages that other people have dropped. This feature is probably the most important element of this game, and its usage is meant to always be helpful or positive. You can only give likes, you can only use the emojis to signal whatever you want. I guess you can try to troll, but it doesn't give you the same level of satisfaction like an Elden Ring where it was made by an actual troll. You magnificent bastard. I think about why I was so affected by this system, that I'm helping random strangers across the planet who I'll never meet in the game itself. And there's value in that. Death Stranding isn't necessarily built upon a choice system like Fallout or Mass Effect, but choice still is part of the gameplay loop. You can choose to help yourself, which therefore helps others around. The choices are more secondary than how other games implement them, but it still very much affects the gameplay experience you can have. You can make it harder on yourself if you disconnect from the internet and solo bubble it. But hey, it's definitely not a bad thing to just have another person lending you a hand. I like the soft touch of how the devs incorporate this. And this leads us all to the question, what does it all mean? Let me answer in a roundabout way. The rain in Death Stranding just deteriorates everything in the game. Your cargo, weapons, vehicles, equipment, all the structures you build, they age and rust and eventually wither away. Whatever system you made to help you and your fellow online comrades, who you will never meet, is gone like the ancient relics of civilizations past. Any evidence of how you got your likes are gone as well. You can come back to this game and it's totally different. The roadway I built was gone. The zip lines I painstakingly climbed up on top of mountains to build is fiend. The mountains and terrain are still here, the phantoms still roam certain areas, and those cargo land pirates still camp out. Eventually, whatever you forged decayed into the game's arbitrary zeros and ones of forgottenness. It's finite. There isn't a 100% completion per se, because that's not what Death Stranding is about. This deterioration could be seen as a grueling and probably macabre, and that's fair, but I think that point misses out on what it really means. Life goes on. These past few years have been really down for a lot of people. No matter where or what people fall on the hierarchy of a social or political order, they have felt these years. I definitely have. And yet this game provided a small glimmer of humanity, even if it's artificial. and a bit corny, because no matter what, you can just jump back in and help new people trying it out for the first time or they're on their nth playthrough. Death Stranding is just a weird game. This is a AAA game that is not like other AAA games. You are playing as a UPS delivery person, single-handedly transporting packages on rocky terrain. On paper, this shouldn't make any sense. But this isn't just another big budget open world game. This is a big budget open world game made by Kojima, and I had the pleasure of playing this game. This isn't one of the best games I've ever played, but it's definitely a game that has gotten me to think about my own life and mortality, about what I owe to others as a human being. Sure, whatever, that's an overly gracious take for a video game, but whatever, I don't care. I don't consume art just for the sake of consumption. I like to relate to it. I want to get wrapped up in the whole context. People love art and media because they felt something from it. Maybe there are video games after death. I don't know. This is just another dumb YouTube video about a dumb video game, so take what you will from that, I guess. If you're still here, thank you for watching. This video was hard to make because I'm still trying to process all of this, and I'm pretty sure however this turns out is a dud. But at the same time, I don't care. This game hit me a lot more than I thought it would. As for an outro, I just want to leave with one last thought. I do like how Death Stranding ends though, and I don't mean the story. The game has an open-ended final chapter aptly titled Tomorrow is in Your Hands, where there isn't a mission or something to complete. You basically just do whatever you want so you can finish those side quests or chill in your little cabin or even just not play at all. You can decide to pick up where you left off if you want. It's literally up to you. I like to think the chapter title means more than just a video game title, but again, that could be another gracious take. People come and go. Relationships, restaurants, jobs, money, possessions, pets, media, and yes, even video games come and go. That's just how it works. Sure, Death Stranding has a story ending. It even had 2 separate end credits, but there isn't a finality to chapter 15 because it's not meant to end, because life is supposed to go on even if we don't.